Howdy do y'all, this is John, and today we are talking about Flight Risk, a new movie on theaters right now. And in Flight Risk, it deals with this U.S. Marshal who is transporting a witness who worked for the mob at one point in time from, the middle of nowhere, Alaska, to Anchorage. That way he can get back to the mainland and, testify. But unfortunately, the pilot turns out to be a assassin in disguise who's trying to kill, this witness. So now it's kind of a race against time with the marshal trying to, keep the assassin at bay while also piloting the plane herself to get, the witness to safety. Okay, so to get things started, first and foremost, what I liked about the movie, I liked how, director Mel Gibson decided to, instead of making like a big extravagant movie, to keep this film as contained as possible. They didn't have a very big budget on this film at all. It does show sometimes, especially when, they need to use a CGI effect. But Mel Gibson decided to take the smart approach to just simply make a small 90-minute thriller and, try and utilize what resources he does have. And I very much appreciate that. If this were any other director, they likely would have done something big and extravagant that the budget just could not hold. On top of that, I think that the cast is pretty good. Michelle Dockery plays the main character, and also Mark Wahlberg, who plays the assassin. Both do a very good job. I don't think there were any Oscar-worthy performances in the film. I also have to give some props to Topher Grace, who portrays the witness character. I can't remember his name. However, Topher Grace is at least able to do a good job with his performance, portraying this very scared guy who probably has, anxiety issues. You end up feeling sorry for him a little bit. Winston, that's his character's name. You end up feeling sorry for Winston. I would also probably argue that Winston has kind of the strongest character development out of all of the characters in this entire movie. Winston, the film, it starts off with him in hiding, and, you get the idea that he's willing to work with the police just to save his own skin. But as the movie progresses and things happen, you start to realize he genuinely regrets working for the mob. He was an accountant for the mob. He didn't go and do any of the killing or the drug dealing or anything like that. But he was aware of what was going on. And like I said, you get the idea he's starting to regret everything that he did. The assassin played by Mark Wahlberg, you don't really know much about him. You don't even know his real name. Mark Wahlberg does do a good job, however, playing this seemingly psychotic person who just wants to get his job done. There's also this sort of fun element to the movie, and, that caught me off guard a little bit, because the film, the whole premise, I was just sitting there thinking to myself, okay, this movie's probably going to be a little bit boring, but to my surprise, not really. Gibson and the writers that worked with him were able to, pull off writing a film and executing a film that, there was always something going on. There was always something going on to keep you a little bit on edge and also entertained. There are some problems with the movie, though. One of them is, this sort of conspiracy element in the movie. It just comes out of nowhere and, you know, entirely deals with characters that you don't know anything about. You've never even met them. An argument can be made, you know, yeah, you don't need to meet them, but you don't know anything about them. I don't get why that was in the movie. It probably would have been fine without it. Also, as I hinted at earlier, you know, while they were able to keep this movie isolated and contained, what little special effects they do use aren't very good. I'm not kidding. The first special effect you are greeted with is a CGI moose, and it does not look good at all. And while I give props to them for, you know, creating a fun and entertaining movie while keeping things, you know, smaller and more contained, I would also argue that, you know, it's not 100% the most original film out there. The narrative is kind of like an average hostage situation narrative. It's just that because of the film's budgetary limitations, you know, it's much smaller, more contained, and there's only like 3 people in 90% of the movie. So guys, at the end of the day, Flight Risk, it was better than I was expecting it to be. I will admit that. It's not as great as, you know, some of Gibson's best movies, though. You know, Gibson as a director, he's made things like Braveheart, Passion of the Christ, more recently Hacksaw Ridge. I love those movies. This film's nowhere near as good as those movies, though. I still, however, found it to be a very fun and entertaining film. You know, the cast are all really good. The whole situation, you know, it keeps you on edge. And, you know, I would honestly kind of recommend this film if you're looking for a 90-minute quickie over the weekend. I'm going to give Flight Risk a 7. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Please look forward to more videos real soon. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Please also subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, please remember,